Born 1951, Suva, Fiji.
I was born in 1936, March 23rd, 1936, in Pakistan. That was British India at that time, but later on, as the partition happened, it became Pakistan.
I was born 1944, village Kotli Than Singh, district Jalandhar, province Punjab, India.
I immigrated to Canada after that, after doing my grade 12. I immigrated to Canada in 71, and I attended BC Technical Institute and BCIT doing my electrical course. When I moved as a student here, we looked at the opportunities, and electrical field was a little bit exciting for me, and I took some physics and other courses earlier, so that's why I went into that. And then the job opportunities were better. Different language.
Yeah.
English was a basic, and Hindi, Punjabi, and some native Fijian language, which is native language. Yeah. The dialect is Fijian, but the alphabet is English, so the pronunciation is a little different, but we could speak some of it. Yeah.
Was school in English or was it?
Mainly in English.
Okay.
Yeah, the second language were Hindi, but mainly was English.
What happened when I finished my high school? India was short of teachers, and they did a program for the teachers so they can have them in a big hurry. In 2 years, they give you a teaching degree. Basically, everything you learn in 4 years, you did it in 2. So, and I taught there for about 2.5 months, and that's all. That's all the time was teaching time. When I got married and came here.
Did you learn English back in India or?
I took English as a second language in India. I could read and write, but speaking I was inexperienced in. But didn't take long once I came here, and because you understand what somebody's saying. At first, I had to think and see if I need to translate it. In other words, there was a pause between the question and the answer. But as soon as I start to stop translating, then I was fine.
And Punjabi is your
Punjabi
language?
language, yes.
Yes, I went to school, and my age, 16, and I could go only for school only 6 months, and then that school was done. And then I think I just didn't know if I could handle it, because there was not anyone to help me properly. And I went and got a job, actually with British Airways as a cafeteria attendant. And then they keep sending me to little small classes. They keep asking me to improve myself. Then they want me to be a cashier. Then they wanted to be want me to be a supervisor, and that was really nice. Everyone helped me uplift my spirit and improve myself. And I keep saying, my English is not good, sister. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I became a catering officer up there. So each time they send me to British Airways school, like a training center thing. So I became a catering officer at that end.
The first job I got was in Vancouver on West 6th. It was a electronic firm doing assembly work for computers, Nova computers. It was called Gestalt International. I worked there for almost 2 years. And then at that time, we had moved to Coquitlam, so I applied job at Fraser Mills as an electrician, and that's when in '77 I got a job here, working at Fraser Mills as an electrician. Well, Fraser Mills was huge at that time. It was big. Um, it was from this golf course here, from Brunette, all the way to almost Portman Bridge, and all this here, the park and all that, and even Superstore area, all was owned by Crown Zellerbach at that time. And the town site was right here. It was a huge place. It was, when I started, it was over 2,000 people working there. There were quite a few people working there. Yeah. Fraser Mills was a first-class company, Crown Zellerbach, when I first started. And every day, since I work as an electrician, maintenance electrician, installation of new equipment, every day was a challenge, and the people around working was just like family, and everybody was very helpful, and it was fun. Every day was a fun there, sort of, doing something new, something different, and the company, the management, and the people, workers around you were very, very good. That was the best place I worked for. Yes, ever. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't meet or run into somebody that has worked in the mill, and I have a lot of guys would get together, with friends. I made a lot of friends there, and I'll still keep in touch with them.
My husband's family was in trucking business, and they, I don't know whether you're aware of it or not, and they had this Gill and Provincial Lines Limited. It was the long haul trucking. They took freight from here to the Eastern Canada. At that time was no Canadian road. They went through United States, but that's what their business was. And my father-in-law's idea was that the ladies don't have to work. So I didn't do anything for a couple of years, 2-3 years actually. And then he passed away, and they had one business which they took a hit in. They lost, not the trucking business, but another one. And that's the time when I realized that I need to go out and look for work. I wrote to Victoria to see what do I have to do to get my teaching certificate. And they said I would have to take high school English and at least 2 years of university, which was, that would be out of question. I had 2 small children. So I went to work for Safeway. And I started with the local grocery store, and then worked for Super Value for a little bit, and then went to Safeway. That's where I was aiming for. So I worked for Safeway for 30 years. Didn't go teaching. And it worked out okay. And we had actually, through the time I was working for Safeway, some of the people had, teachers have stopped teaching to come to work at Safeway because they were finding they were not getting proper positions and stuff. So for me, it worked out okay.
What I did, North Vancouver was very expensive area. I sold that house because one thing, he died right there, and it was difficult for me, and I decided to have a new start, beginning with me and my children. So I sold my house in North Vancouver and bought the house on Hillcrest up here in Coquitlam, and I rent out the basement. And I worked as well. I worked whatever I could get a job. I had to see what my children are doing. So with my children's schedule and whatever I could do, it didn't matter what I was doing. It mattered that I have to be at home at this time and I have to leave at this time. So first I used to work night shift because so my children would go to sleep. Then I left them home alone. But my older son was very, 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 very responsible child. He was born irresponsible. I actually wrote a story. I said, now I know why he was born after 11 months of marriage. And he was born irresponsible. Even as a child, he was just, even a 3-year-old, he was irresponsible. He wanted to put the things away, he wanted to fix things. He always was that way, and he was a very responsible child. So I used to leave them, and I used to phone about 9. I said, okay, don't answer the phone. So they would sleep, and then I would come home 11, 12. Yeah, things, yes, they were difficult. And then when the younger ones started going to school, I started taking a job very early in the morning. So they both would go to school. Then I wanted to be home by 3 or 4. So then I worked at old folks' home, hotels. It was not, didn't matter. We delivered newspaper in the morning for my children. Then in 1980, I sold my Hillcrest house. I took a chance. The Riverview was developing and I bought a lot up there. My 16-year-old, he was very creative and he always liked fixing things. I knew he would be good at good helper up there, and we so that's what we did. We bought a lot, and we built it, and that's the way I get to know the city hall people, the tradesmen I had to find, and then I gradually get to know a little bit community as well. So what we used to do while we were building the house, we would camp in the house. We did not rent any place. So that way we saved that money as well. So we camped in the same house what we were building. But my house, I was so blessed, my houses were selling like so fast. Every 4 months I was selling the house. I would buy a lot. That one is sold. That one has a roof. We are in there. So I was selling every 4 months, and that I made good money up there, really good money.
The mill closed down. That was our last day. The mill closed down. The main mill closed down, and that's when we were laid off. Yes, that was 2004. It came as a little bit of a surprise, but that was a decision made by Interfor then to close it down.
How many people were working at the mill when it closed down?
I don't remember the exact number, but would be about 400 people working there, or 500 between people working there, including the office and the whole plant, logging and all that. So,
was there like a lot of work that to be done, or was it like the operations were slowly slowing down?
yes, yeah, and the lumber supply was, it was diverted to the other mills, so they had intentions to shut it down anyway. So make room for this big development. Yeah.
Okay.
I was hired by Georgia Pacific right across the river. They make wallboard. So I worked there for almost 10 years after that.
And then, did you retire afterwards, or?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, that plant also closed down. So I was hired by Avalon Dairies, which I retired from 2 years ago.
I noticed you bought your hats. Are those from the Fraser Mills, or?
Yeah, they're from Fraser Mills, and they're from the first company, Crown Salavak, Crown Forest. It became Crown Forest, and then it became Fletcher Challenge, and then Interfor was the last one, which shut down. Yeah, so it changed hands quite a few times, and every time the management at Fraser Mills was good. It was fun to work for. Yes.
Okay, so there wasn't much like difference between each of the different owners?
Well, Crown Salavak was the best, and then it formed the Canadian company Crown Forest, and each company had their own ways, but on the whole, they were good. It was a good place to work for.
So 86, my older one, as I said, he got married, and then as he got married, so I met their family. Then I get to know lots of people as well. And then he had the babies. My older one started having children, and his wife didn't want to be a stay-home mom. Then I volunteered myself that, okay, I will look after the children. That's when I stopped building houses. I stopped working, I stopped building. And but I then start running, working for community center in the evening, like multicultural group. Just in the evening when my children came home and they look after their children, then I would go out in the evening to multicultural groups.
Right now, you mean I'm retired and I'm just go for my morning walks. I would have liked to travel more, but with this COVID thing, that's a little bit restrictive. But I do my gardening. I love doing gardening. I travel a little bit and enjoy my grandkids. Spend time with my grandkids. That's
Right now, we don't do a whole lot. We stopped traveling 10 years ago because neither one of our health is to a point where we can do that. We stopped. And we have a family here. We visit and do our own thing. And we live by ourselves. We don't live with the family, but they all come and visit. And we have our oldest son has 2 children, and our daughter has 2 children, and the youngest son has 4 daughters. So nice family, good to visit. And we go, before the COVID, the girls were getting together. We go to Dogwood, do different functions at the Dogwood with Abnash and all that. And now it all come to a halt. Then I belong to, not really belong to, I have to do this Healthy Heart program. So I was going to YMCA at Poirier 3 times a week, and that stopped. Now they're doing that on Zoom a couple of times a week. So for last year and a half, it's almost nothing, just stay home.
Akali Singh Sikh Gurdwara on Skeena, and up there I run yoga classes through that Gurdwara. So I talked to the committee. I said, we need to keep our community healthy, and that's what I would like to do. And they give me permission. and they don't charge us for the room at all. But I hired a teacher, and so I want to pay the teacher. So we charge $10 a month because we don't have to pay the Gurdwara. And it is very, very multicultural. It's not just for Sikh community. And I am so proud of it. We have 70 to 100 people comes to Gurdwara for that. And it's really, and I been teaching Punjabi from a long time as well. Since I had time, so I used to rent a room from Dogwood on Sunday for 2 hours, and I used to teach local children Punjabi because the ladies asked me to do that. So I used to charge them because I had to pay the room, and from there I've been teaching Punjabi in West Vancouver as well. There's West Vancouver community. They want me to come and teach their children, and they take everything. Like they took the room from the community center as well, but they are in charge of those stuff. But I just go and teach, and I enjoy that very much as well.